All right, so welcome to Seven Questions with NTG. I'm very honored and just excited to have a very, very, very special guest in the building tonight, Mr. Freedom Williams. So I know everybody knows "Gonna Make You Sweat." That song has lasted, I mean, what, 30 years now?
Yeah, at least, yeah. 35,
Yeah.
30, yeah.
And I mean, even now it's coming to the newer generation because of the TikTok challenges and just
Yep,
actually I heard the song on Cobra Kai when I was watching that show.
yeah,
So it's literally everywhere. So
yeah.
just want to just give you your flowers first of all for just having such a long sustaining career in
Right.
music. Well, just glad to have you here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you.
Hmm.
So I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit about your origins of music. Like, where did it begin for you? How did you start into music from the beginning?
Music began very early, 7, 8 years old. Um, when I was in the second grade, I was in a band. Mr. Williams was actually my band leader, band teacher in Queens in 147. So I played trombone for a few years, second grade, third grade. And I played flute. I tried flute for about a year or two. Um, But now you're talking about second grade, I start second, third, fourth, fifth. By the sixth grade, I'm in junior high school,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So that's 12 years old. So we're talking 1977.
Okay.
So, Queens, New York. I went to school, junior high school in Hollis, Queens. I went to the same junior high school as Jam Master Jay, 192.
Oh
So,
wow.
rap was really, I had rap people I knew who MC'd, MC Cartwright from Cambria Heights, um, people who I knew DJ'd. We're talking about 5, 6 years, 4 or 5 years after the started, what we called the birthday to hip hop, 73. So, I mean, I got into rap because I was already into music. I was already, back in the 70s, there wasn't a lot of DJ crews, but there were a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Queens had a lot of bands.
Mm-hmm.
New York City had a lot of bands. Grand Central Station, um, the Whatnots, Sky. There was a lot of bands coming out of New York. So music was everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So rap allowed the younger cats to follow a different path in music, which was to MC. And so I picked it up at around 1978.
Okay.
Hmm.
You were right. I mean, you were literally in the beginning of hip hop, like right.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I mean, I had posters from 75, 74 of battles with the Sugar Hit, well, battles with, you know, Double Trouble, the Fantastic Five, the Fantastic, MCs with Sugar Hit, not Sugar Hill, Grandmaster Flash. I had groups in my neighborhood. The Disco Twins was a DJ crew. The Albino Twins was two MCs.
Mm.
The Rappomatical Five was from Queens, Rapper Ron. We're talking about 78, 79.
Mm.
So, people was popping. It was hip hop crews for sure.
Yeah.
And they were there before, but I was only 12 at the time, 11, 12. So now I'm starting to get my feet wet. So yeah, it's definitely the beginning. It's definitely the era when everything was a poster and a flyer. It was $5 to get in, $3 for guys, $2 for girls to get into a club. And you're talking about 16, 15, 14-year olds.
Yeah.
And remember, and I was a 5%er. And so the 5%ers ruled New York City.
Okay. Oh,
The
okay.
gods ruled New York City.
Mm.
So we controlled how everything moved. The Zulu Nation had a lot of beats. I used to always say the Zulu Nation had the beats, the gods controlled the streets. So knowledge was very prevalent. There was a lot of consciousness going on. It was a wonderful time to be alive, that's for sure.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen that era
Yeah. Yeah,
person in New York.
I mean, I look at pictures now. Jamel Shabazz is probably the preeminent hip hop photographer, but he's not really just a hip hop photographer. You got Ernie Panicchioli, You got Irving Pinton. You got Ronnie White. You got Joey Conzo from the Bronx who did all the Grandma. All these guys I know. These are the photographers that came up in the 80s and the 70s
Mm.
who did all the Biggie posters and these were the guys who we went to for photography, right? Al Piero, who's not necessarily hip hop. All the four guys I mentioned were black, but I was an Italian guy. But Jamel Shabazz was a 5%er who was in the streets in the 70s and the 80s. So he caught a lot of his catalog. I mean, he is the what's the guy's name that did Sweet Badass, the great photographers of the 70s that were coming up in Harlem.
Okay.
He's our generation's that guy.
Mm. And captured just so well.
Yeah. Jamel Shabazz, he captured, the rallies. It was a time, we call it a time before crack.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, when crack came on the scene, things changed. Things changed. That's actually a good segue into my next question also. Who are some of your influences, people that influenced you or that you kind of, that helped you to know what you wanted to do as far as musically?
I mean, there's a lot of different people. I mean, Earth, Wind and Fire, Michael Jackson, you got jazz groups, Hubert Laws, Ramsey Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, Earl Clue. You've got different musicians. You've got Billy Cobham. I was a big fan of Billy Cobham. Even Buddy Rich. Those were two drummers, but Billy Cobham, from Brooklyn, one of the world's classical greatest drummers. And then you got the hip hop guys. Melly Mel was a big influence on me coming up.
Sure.
He was the voice of Grandmaster Flash. You had Raheem, of course, and Scorpio, and Cowboy was really dope. He passed away. You had Mr. Ness of Scorpio. You've got Kid Creole, who's in prison right now, Melly Mel's brother. But Melly Mel was the voice, the real lyrical figurehead. Like Ice Cube was the NWA.
Yeah. That's
so
who's
you
in
had
your playlist now. Like if we listen to your playlist right now, that's who you listen to now.
Nah, I don't listen to I'll listen to some Tracy Chapman. I'll listen to some Bob Marley. I'll listen to some, Tupac. Yeah. I wasn't never a big hip hop listener. When I was younger, I did.
Mm-hmm.
But, once you become, your heroes become your contemporaries, and then your heroes become your friends, and your friends be your contemporaries. And I always say your heroes become your contemporaries, and your contemporaries become your friends. Meaning that if you're in the field, if you're an architect and you've paid your dues and you've been doing buildings for 20 years, you don't really watch anybody else in that field.
Gotcha.
If you're a medical doctor and you've been operating on people for 20 years, there's no doctors that you really follow at that point.
Right.
You go to other things. So as a rapper, there's no rapper. I grew up on I loved LL. I loved KRS-One. I loved Public Enemy. I loved Kid and Play. I loved that golden era. Rakim is my favorite MC. And sometimes I just throw on some classic Rakim. But, there's nobody that at my age, there's nobody that really does anything for me because I done seen it. Now, that doesn't mean that the young cats are not dope, like Young Thug or The Baby. They're dope. Mm-hmm. But at my age, I'm more mature now. I'm not listening to Shake Your Booty, Get High music.
Right. I get you.
I don't listen to a lot of rap. It does nothing for me.
Yeah. Well, it's changed a bit too. Not, no diss to the newer artists, but you seem like you're more of a lyrics type of person. Bars.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I'm just 57, so there's nothing that you 29. What you gonna tell me? Why am I listening to your music?
Yeah,
I did that already. I done did freestyles with the greatest of the greats. I done, so at this point I'm on Doda Paquana, Muda Baruka, Bob Marley, like I say, Tracy Chapman, Elton John, Billy Joel, jazz musicians. I don't like a lot of noise. And as much as I love hip hop, it can be a lot of noise. I'm just in a different point in my life. So I don't drive around listening to hip hop. It's not what I do.
Gotcha. So I know you tour. I was blessed to be be able to come to one of your shows, and
Mm-hmm.
it just felt good. It was a good feeling,
Yeah.
which I think is very much needed these days because there's
Yeah.
a whole lot going on in the world. So it's good to just come somewhere and just feel good and hear good music and just have a good time. So
Yeah.
I know you tour all over the world. Is there anywhere in particular that you like your favorite spots to go, or favorite cities, or best tour story that you have?
Well, there's different experiences. You know, I was in the Poconos last weekend, and I had a suite. So I had a heart-shaped jacuzzi.
Ooh,
Then when you opened up my suite, there was a champagne glass that was about 15 feet high.
wow.
And
Okay.
you could literally, and it was a tub. Then you had the window outside, and the deer were everywhere. It was a resort in the Poconos. I mean, the deer would come up to your door. They'll sit down in front of it. So it was cool because there was a lot of nature around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is just different experiences, right? I've done cruises. I love Malaysia, one of my favorite places. They don't eat pork.
Hmm.
You know, they don't eat pork, which was good for me in the 90s because I haven't eaten pork since 1980,
Oh wow, that's
right?
a long time.
Yeah, I haven't eaten pork since I got knowledge of self. So they don't eat pork. So you can go into any store because it's a Muslim country.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy going to Muslim country because of the dietary laws.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't have to think about it. I just go in the store. The toothpaste don't have pork. The soap don't have pork.
Toothpaste has pork?
Oh yeah, Crest and Colgate. Oh, it's full of pork. It's tallow weight. It's tallow. They can get tallow from beef or pigs, or they can get natural tallow from plants. But whenever corporations can get something cheap,
Mm.
they'll take it. So yeah, toothpaste has pork. Crest has pork. Colgate has pork. Um,
Jeez.
most of your soaps, but I've been conscious of this 35, 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
So so it's good to go to those countries. You can go into a McDonald's and you know that it's real meat
Yeah. Okay.
because there's a Muslim country and they take that very seriously. We live in a capitalist Christian country, so they don't care what you eat.
Right. Right.
So it's a whole different world when you go into
Different kind of
Dubai.
discipline. Yeah.
When you go to Dubai, you never have to ask. There's no pigs in the country,
Mm.
you know. And so, as a person that doesn't eat that stuff, I'm very conscious of what I eat. I fast a lot. I diet a lot. I'm always watching what I eat. I go through phases where I just go hard for 2 or 3 years, and I back up, and then I just, So there's a lot of science to it. So those places are very special to me because I always feel free there.
Oh, well, can't beat that, right?
No, you can't be because what you eat is everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It definitely even shapes how you behave and how you move.
Yeah, people ask me what's the greatest accomplishment you ever accomplished, and I say not my children because anybody can have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of ding dongs with kids. That don't mean nothing. Getting pregnant is easy. My greatest accomplishment is getting knowledge of self at 15,
Okay.
staying true to consciousness,
Mm.
staying grounded in my never wavering from it,
Right.
and fasting. Fasting is the greatest tool I've ever encountered.
Mm.
Because what it does for your pineal gland, what it does for your pituitary gland, how it frees your mind to be able to accept greater levels of truth.
Mm.
It's an antenna. So when your mind is clear, I can sit down and go through a problem really fast, And so when you couple that type of discipline with African spirituality, you're really at a high vibration now.
Mm.
Because people do African spirituality, but they don't eat properly.
Right.
Right. So they don't necessarily think properly.
Mm.
There
So
are
it's
people
like
who
you
eat
are what you eat.
proper. You are there's nothing more important than what you put in your mouth.
Mm.
It's more important than how you pray.
Wow.
Because if your body's not clean, you can pray, but there's no signal coming in.
Mm.
Because the pollution, your skin is an organ. So one of the greatest things for me is when I learned to fast, I knew automatically I was on to something that the prophets did, Jesus, Noah, Muhammad. Um, yeah, it's being able to shut your mouth and not eat for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
Yeah.
is 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 mastery, because we're only here on this earth to master energy,
Right.
right?
It calls the question why it poses the question why they have so many fast food spots.
Yeah, because they have to poison your system.
Yeah.
They can't trick you if you're not trickable.
Right. Well, I think you gave us a lot to think about with that. That was that was pretty deep. Or well, not even deep, just real.
It's
Just
just real.
just
Yeah,
real.
it's real. 100%.
So for hip hop, I know it's nobody that really, I mean, because you've been around, you've been in the industry for, you know, longer than I can count on both of my hands.
Right, sure.
But do you have what's your top five MCs that you for your list for all time? Do you have a top five?
Rakim,
Okay.
Melly Mel, Jay-Z. I would say Pac or Biggie, but I could put them together because they're so intertwined.
Okay.
There's no two rappers that are intertwined more than Pac. Like Rakim ain't intertwined with nobody.
Yeah.
Kane ain't. Biggie and Pac are almost synonymous with each other at this point.
So why do you feel they're synonymous with you?
Because they were both assassinated
gotcha.
for the same. They were their legacy was fight the East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
There's no artist, there's no two artists in music that are so as intertwined as those two.
Very true.
So when you say Biggie, you gotta almost say Pac. So you might as well just put them together.
Yeah.
Because Biggie's word play, his more than anything else, is Biggie's timing is impeccable. But then Pac was like a Dr. King type. So they represented two different eras that came together. The old and the new New York, the fly New York, gangsters shoot 'em up, drugs on the corner, Biggie Smalls, the Tupac, Malcolm X, criminal, then becomes conscious. You mix them together.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Rakim, Melly Mel. Who else did I say? Rakim, Melly Mel. Jay-Z. Then you put Biggie and Pac together as a 4. And top 5, you can probably intertwine, different people. Sometimes it's Nas, sometimes it's Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Sometimes it's Cube and End Up. There's different, but those Rakim, Melly Mel, because of what, LL, you could put LL in that 5.
Yeah.
But Melly Mel was the first superstar.
Yeah, definitely.
Rakim to me is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time too. Rakim.
I mean, he was a god. He's 5%. He's conscious, so he's always going to be ahead of his time because he is time.
Yeah,
that's the mathematics. Rakim, Jay-Z, just because of his longevity, and he's he's a FAN, he's a fly ass nigga.
Yeah, he is.
He's just fly. His whole shit is fly.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's Biggie and Pac together. You can put 4 and 5, or you can put them as both as a 4.
Right.
I mean, there's many great artists, like I said, LL, who has his moments. Run DMC.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a lot of artists. It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. But the ones that had an effect on me.
Yeah.
Not so much KRS-One, because as a 5%er, KRS-One wasn't bringing me anything new.
Okay.
Because most of his teachings were from the 5%.
Okay.
His name, KRS-One, knowledge reigns supreme. Well, most of the gods that I knew was named knowledge or supreme or divine or freedom or justice or Malachi or sincere or divine or majestic. So he was really at 85. He was a 5%er as cloaked as an 85, but he never accepted the 5% nation of Islam. So he was an 85, but he didn't eat pork and he didn't eat this. And so he had a lot of the teachings. So I never really got into him as deep as some 85s, because I already had the lessons. So, but Rakim took the lessons and he just did something else with them.
Yeah. Rakim was nasty. He
Yeah, I
he
mean,
still
yeah,
is. I saw
he
him
still
in
is.
concert maybe like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He didn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. He's nasty.
Nothing. Still
Yeah.
nasty to this day.
Yeah, he's nasty.
Can't go wrong with Rakim, definitely. We just about wrapping up, but I do have like maybe 2 more questions if it's all right. All right. So the current state of hip hop right now, how do you feel about what's going on in music? How do you feel about the new artists? Are you banging with it, or how do you feel about the current state of hip hop?
No, I don't. Again, at my age, at 57, I don't really listen to a lot of young 20, 30-year-olds. I mean, I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing you gonna tell me that I haven't experienced or seen or pushed aside or rejected or so I can't really be a judge on it, because if I judge it, then I'm just an old dude judging young people.
Okay, I see what
And
you're
it's hard for me to judge it because I've lived that life. So I'm not judging it fairly because I don't do that no more. I don't smoke weed. Like, I don't go to the clubs. I don't throw money up in the air. I never been that dude anyway.
right. Okay.
But it's just, I'm 57. How am I going to judge a 20-year-old who hasn't lived? He doesn't have the experience I have. I may not like it because he may not be saying what I want him to say, but it's not fair.
Gotcha.
I sound like a grumpy old ass man.
Well, do you have from your experience and just from being in music so long and the longevity that you have, do you have advice for up and coming artists that are, maybe even artists that want to kind of go their own path? They maybe don't want to be mainstream, but they still want to be successful.
Yeah, well, if you're an artist, if you're a painter or singer or a rapper or an architect or pencil stitch artist, or if you're an artist, you have to pursue that path. That's just the advice is just be true to whatever it is that calls you. Okay. Whatever you want to draw that day, draw it. Don't say, well, I'm not going to make this person black because I don't. Oh, excuse me. Or don't say, well, I'm not going to make this person look like this. If you're inspired to draw a giant or a midget or someone with long fingers and skinny hands or short arms and long legs, that's Picasso. That's art. That's African art, right? So there's no judgment on what you do. The key is just be true to what inspires you to write. Just write it. Don't think that, well, nobody's going to like it, because that's not necessarily true. Don't write it and say, if you write it and say to yourself, oh, I know I can say this better, then that's being true to yourself.
Okay.
If you write it and then you say, well, I don't like what I said, that's being true to yourself. That doesn't mean somebody else won't like it.
Right.
So you want to erase it because you're true to yourself. So you have to be true to yourself in all the capacities. You have to be true to yourself. So the advice is be true to yourself. If all you know is twerking and thotting and you don't know nothing else, then write about that until you learn something else.
Until you learn something else. I got you.
You can't not be an artist because you don't know what to say.
Right.
If all you know is whoring and selling drugs and chasing bitches, then that's what you write about until you learn something else. Now, if you 50 and you doing that, then nigga, you ain't learned nothing in 30 years.
That's kind of rough.
Right. But if that's what you know, I can't tell you not to say it. It would be nice if you was a revolutionary and you were trying to change the world and at 25 years old, like a Lauryn Hill, but not everybody's built like that.
True.
And not everybody has access to that information.
Right.
So you have to be true to yourself at that moment.
Right.
If you feel like you want to commit suicide, then write that. I feel suicidal. Don't ever want to be idle. I had a bridal shower I went to last hour and I wanted to kill everybody and devour, but the spirit told me not in this hour.
Yeah.
That's what you talk about until you heal yourself.
Right.
And you say, like Jay-Z matured, Nas matured, Eminem matured.
Yeah.
You got to write stupid shit if all you know is stupid shit.
Makes sense. And start to develop.
Yeah, you can't not be an artist because you don't know what to say.
Right.
You can't not be an artist because you might offend somebody.
Yeah. That's part of it too, actually.
That's part of it too. Everything is good. It's all good.
Very true.
It's all good. Just be true.
So I like to ask one more question. This is a question I always ask every time I do an interview. Sometimes people don't want to answer, sometimes they do. But I always ask, what's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Ever done? Sleep with 6 women in a castle in Transylvania.
Oh man. Oh, okay. I think that one took my breath a little bit. I wasn't expecting that, but hey, I it's
I think a couple of them were vampires.
Transylvania. Well, I know you travel all around the world, so
right.
You've been just about everywhere.
Yeah.
All over the world.
That might not be the craziest, but it might be top 5.
One of the top 5. Like,
yeah, it might be top 5. It might not. I might have done some crazy shit, but that was pretty nuts.
This was a really
and I was in a bar in the mountains in Transylvania, and I bumped into a Puerto Rican dude from the Bronx.
Oh, wow.
That's how we started in the Bronx, from the Bronx.
Wow.
I'm talking about when you go to think about Dracula and the smoke is all around and it's eye level and it's you hear the wolves. It was like that type shit.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then we ended up getting bananas, having a crazy time.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
This was a very, I think this interview will really give people just a, more insight and just a different view, which is what I like to do.
Yeah.
I know you're still touring, doing shows all over.
Yeah.
Let people know like what's coming up, what's on the horizon, so that we can be on the lookout for it. And
Well, I'm finally finishing my book. I have the manual. It's a quote book that I've got several books. Trust me, that I got a script that I wrote 10 years ago that I sent to somebody in Hollywood.
Okay.
And I wrote script 1, script 2, and script 3.
Wow.
And I happened to see them in Boston last week. I had a show, and they were like, "Yo," they had texted me, emailed me a month ago, and they just checking in. They said, "You know why I emailed you?" I was like, "No." They said, "Because I was thinking about your script, and I really want to produce it. I think it's one of the best ones I read." And I said, "Okay, I don't have a copy of it. Can you forward it back to me?"
Wow.
And so she said, "Read it, because I'm meeting with a producer next week." So I mean. So I'm doing this. I have a farm, and I work with animals, and I'm supposed to be doing an album right now, but I really can't find the time. I learned as I've gotten older, stop doing 10 things.
I can dig it.
just do 1 or 2 things at a time. You don't need to do 10 things.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get nothing done.
Try to focus and
just do 1 thing until you get that popping.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So where can we are we following everywhere just under Freedom Williams, like Instagram?
Yeah. It's Freedom Williams, straight one word, Freedom Williams, or it's official CNC Music Factory Instagram. It's official.freedom.williams. But that's it. I mean, I don't really do Facebook. I don't have a TikTok. I have a Facebook and a Twitter. I don't go to them.
Not like that, right?
Nah, I just do Instagram. I don't do Facebook. I might go on Facebook twice a year.
Okay.
Maybe if I go on Facebook 5 times a year, I'm pushing it.
Gotcha.
So probably twice a year I'll go, because I might be looking for somebody.
Yeah.
But I feel like Facebook's for old people. It makes me feel like a senior citizen when I'm on Facebook. I just feel like the oldest nigga on earth.
Oh man.
I just feel like I'm looking at my school teachers, and I'm like, "Yo, Dr. Marshall from college is on." I was like, "Nah, I can't.
Well,
I'm not."
Facebook is a spot where everybody was like catching up with old friends and
I don't want. If I don't have you in my life, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
If you ain't in my life now, it's all right.
That's it.
It's all right. I'm cool.
This was such a treat, such a good interview. I really appreciate you taking time out to come on the show. And
for you, I would definitely. People ask me all the time, and I'll be dodging them. I'll be like, but not when you ask. I'm coming.
See, that's love. I appreciate that so very much. We're gonna let you get out of here, but again, just everybody just follow. Make sure y'all, buy tickets to the shows, check out the book.
Yep.
gotta let me know when that manuscript come out too, when that movie or whatever you're working on.
Yeah. Well, the book is, my sister is doing it because I couldn't figure it out. I just was too busy. So I gave she's doing everything for me. So she sent me a copy of it today. So then I have another book that I wrote that's like crazy. This was a quote book, but the other one is like serious. It's called Lip Sync. It's about music in the business. So when I gave her this one to see how she did with it.
Yeah.
You know, and then she's doing pretty good. Then I'm gonna hand her the next one. She don't realize I got 8 books to hand her.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah. No, I'm a busy bee.
I see.
Yeah, I believe in art. I believe in creativity, 100%.
Definitely.
Painting, drawing, music, singing, rapping, drumming.
Doing it all.
Yeah, the colors of life.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is.
Keep everybody posted. Keep NTG posted so I can, I definitely want to share and
Yep.
Get the word out there because you are definitely legendary and current and doing it big. So, it's
currentary.
It's an inspiration to me.
Good, because you dope. I know I'm a big fan. You dope.
Oh wow! See, now that just
you dope.
Almost brings
on the mic. You're a problem. You may not know it, but you're a problem.
I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
It means a lot.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Freedom. Thank you so very much. Love you back. And we're gonna get on out of here. 7 questions with NTG. It's a wrap.
Peace.
Let me dig into my mental to give you just a glimpse of me. I'm off the chain, I'm lovely, like champagne so bubbly. Made it past the years for years, them streets so ugly. Them cuts can't bug me, them daggers can't hush me. I hold on tight, red rum on mics, on tracks, on wax. Yeah, my strike is out of sight, plus I never been